But then that made me think of other inventions and even things that are very commonplace today. Like I remember from something I've seen in the past, I don't remember exactly what it was, but Mercedes-Benz was the first auto manufacturer to mass produce diesel cars.
Okay.
That seems totally normal nowadays, especially if we're talking about things like trucks and stuff like that.
For sure.
Because there's definitely advantages to diesel, but there's also disadvantages. It really depends on what you need it for, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But they were the first ones to mass produce them. So it made me actually look up who invented the diesel engine.
Mm-hmm.
And the diesel engine was invented by a guy named Rudolf Diesel.
Mm-hmm.
He did it in, I think it was the late 1800s or early 1900s. Now I'm getting a little confused here.
Yeah, I think you were right with the late 1800s.
Late 1800s? Yeah. Okay. He was kind of ridiculed for it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, of course, with any invention, there are stages. There is testing. There are improvements.
Mm-hmm.
Very few people just come right out of the park and just hit one out of the park.
Right.
So there were issues in the beginning, but he got ridiculed so badly that he actually had a nervous breakdown.
Oh, geez.
And in 1913, I've got it written down here, on a ship sailing to England, he went missing. And the theory behind it is that he jumped overboard at some point, like a suicide scenario. Sorry to bring us down this early into the podcast, but then Mercedes-Benz, they started back in 1936 producing cars that ran on diesel, and they still do it today.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, a lot of their cars will have the option for a gas or a diesel engine. BMW also does that. Like I've got a gas car, but my cousin has almost the exact same car I have, but he has the diesel version.
Oh, nice.
It's like the same year, same everything that's dumped in a diesel.
Interesting.
And it just depends on how you're going to use it, you know?
Yeah.
There are advantages and then there are disadvantages.
Yeah.
But I just thought, at the time, this guy was like ridiculed to the point where he decided he didn't want to be around anymore. And nowadays, if you talk to somebody who actually uses like a truck as like a work truck, a lot of them are diesel.
Yeah, for sure. A lot of diesel.
And then if you think about like big things like semis and stuff like that, and I know diesel cars aren't very big in the United States, but they're actually incredibly popular over in Europe.
Oh, yeah.
So it just kind of felt like I guess it was weird at the time.
Yeah.
But nowadays it's just a normal thing.
Yeah. Would you ever have a diesel vehicle? Is it diesel or diesel?
You know what? That's a good question. I don't know. I think it's diesel.
Yeah.
I'm saying diesel though, aren't I?
No, I think you were saying.
Is it water or water?
Oh, yeah. I'm sure it's probably water.
Yeah. But yeah, there was actually a couple cars in the past that I thought would be better as a diesel. But then again, I must also say I was being misled by all the things that Volkswagen was doing.
Oh, yeah.
Because they were saying, look at it, it's super clean and you get great gas mileage. And I was like, why aren't all these cars diesel?
Yeah.
But then we found out that they weren't as clean as they said they were.
Right.
So I don't know. At this point in my life, I think if I get another car,
oh yeah, I know you're gonna be electric.
Yeah. If I get another truck though, maybe I could go either way because I'm probably not going to purchase a brand new truck. I'm going to probably just get something else used because I just need like something to go to Home Depot or whatever.
Right. Yeah. I've never. Well, I can't say never. I have driven a diesel vehicle. It was a moving truck. That was the first one that I've ever driven that was diesel, and then other than that though, not really. I just don't like the smell.
Yeah, it's different.
Yeah,
and I wish they could improve that. I don't necessarily know from like a engineering standpoint exactly what the issue is with that. I think it's on burnt fuel, and I think it has to do with the high compression that diesel operates under, and that sometimes they're not getting it all.
Right.
I mean, I'm not sure, but it feels like at least the zeitgeist of right now is everything seems to be moving towards, or at least talked about, in the electric realm. So I'm almost thinking at this point, because the gas engine has been so refined, I'm not sure how much more improvements we have.
Right.
I don't know as much about the diesel engine. Maybe there is more improvements that we could had. But I got a feeling that people are going to probably use their time and energy to improving electric vehicles, and that'll be the direction that we go.
Right.
So I think the electric vehicles, even though they've been around forever, because of limitations of batteries and things like that, I don't think that we really ever seriously tried to improve them. And I think now we are, and so that's probably the direction.
Yeah. So you probably won't see like much more like improvements or enhancement on gas vehicles. Seems like the focus will be towards electric, probably.
I mean, we'll see little things, and the things I've seen at least in the last 20 years are not necessarily on the engine itself, but kind of around the engine. Like Ford has done this with their EcoBoost. I remember when the Ford Raptor truck, the F-150 Raptor came out, it had a V8 because this was their off-roading hardcore truck. I mean, of course, put a V8 in it.
Yeah.
Well, after a while, they said, you know what, we're not going to offer the V8 anymore. We're going to offer a V6, but it's going to be supercharged. And everyone was like, no, but this is supposed to be the badass one. Like, I want it to have all the power. And they're like, oh no, it has like 60 more horsepower and like 50 more torque. Like, it's more powerful.
Right.
But the trick is like when you step down to a smaller engine and then you supercharge it or turbo it, for the most part, under normal driving, you use less gas. And then when you actually gun it and engage the RPMs up to a point where the turbo kicks in, or a supercharger, then it uses more gas. So you still get all the power, but you also have an option to get better gas mileage.
Yeah.
And then the other thing I've seen around it is like the F-150 or the Raptor now comes with a 10-speed transmission, which it's an automatic.
Yeah.
But then it's all computer controlled.
Yeah.
And it just skips around to whatever gear it thinks is the best to give you power or gas mileage or whatever. But it's not like they actually change the engine. They're just using a slightly smaller engine, and then they're forcing more air into it, and then they're giving it a different transmission.
Yeah.
So you get better performance and better gas mileage out of it. But when you break down, I don't think they improve the engine at all.
Right. Yeah. Nice.